There's a song I grew up singing called Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus was a wee little man, and a wee little man was he. He climbed up in a sycamore tree for the Lord he wanted to see. And as the Savior passed that way, he looked up in the tree and he said, "Zacchaeus, you come down, for I'm going to your house today." This children's Bible song does a great job telling us the story of Zacchaeus. Unfortunately, it leaves off the most important part. Hello, I'm John, your spiritual fitness coach, and today we are going to talk about greed and money. Anytime I think of Zacchaeus, I am transported to a little classroom in the church that I grew up in. Mrs. Shirley Ewell is seated on a small chair next to a flannel graph board. On the board are people, Jesus, and up in a tree, Zacchaeus. If you're not familiar with a flannel graph board, you can look it up on YouTube. There's a video titled "Jesus at the House of Zacchaeus, Flannel Board Story." That can show you the whole thing. As Mrs. Ewell tells the story, all our little eyes are glued to the board. 6-year-old me is on the edge of my seat. I can totally relate to Zacchaeus. If I was in a crowd, I would never be able to see Jesus. Plus, I love climbing trees. What will happen next? Because this is such a great story, go with me to Luke 19. We're going to read the whole story starting in verse 1 and going down to verse 10. He entered Jericho and was passing through. And behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was rich. And he was seeking to see who Jesus was. But on account of the crowd, he could not, because he was small in stature. So he ran on ahead and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him, for he was about to pass that way. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, "Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house today." So he hurried and came down and received him joyfully. And when they saw it, they all grumbled, "He has gone in to be the guest of a man who is a sinner." And Zacchaeus stood and said to the Lord, "Behold, Lord, the half of my goods I give to the poor. And if I have defrauded anyone for anything, I restore it fourfold." And Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, since he also is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost." The story of Zacchaeus is more than just the story of a man who had to climb a tree to see Jesus. The story of Zacchaeus is the story of a man who had his entire life transformed by Jesus. He went from being someone whose job and life revolved around money to someone willing to give up half of his wealth and to make things right with the people he defrauded or cheated. What caused him to change? He encountered Jesus. The practice of those in his position was to overcharge people and keep the excess money. That is how he became rich. Zacchaeus went from caring only about himself to caring about the poor and those he cheated. Why? Because he met Jesus. The only solution to our greed or our love of money is to love something else more. That something else is Jesus. When we love Jesus more, we love others more, and our love for money fades. To win today over greed, learn to love Jesus more. We do that by getting into his word, fellowshipping with God in prayer, and spending time with his people. Now, get out there and win today over greed.